Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about the 5 most common mistakes in CS2. So the first mistake that I want to talk about is aiming too low. Now a lot of players do that mistake, especially if they're new to the game, but even some people that have played the game for a while also do this mistake, and they aim not at the ground like new players, but they aim low, let's say like this, and there can be reasons for this, and it can be useful in some situations, but if you are aiming at body level all the time, that's not the best thing. There are situations where it can be useful, like off the top of my head I can think of powers on Mirage and ups on Inferno when you're on T-side and you just hold, and it can be useful on an angle like this if you expect somebody to push you, but in general it will be better to aim at head level, because you'll kill the enemy instantly if you shoot him in the head, obviously. So it will always be better to aim at head level. In some situations it can be useful to aim at the body level, but that's not going to be very common. And keep in mind to also have a crosshair on head level when you are peeking things, because there are some players who would peek things and have their crosshair on the chest level, and then if this guy who you are peeking has his crosshair on head level, then he's going to kill you faster than you can kill him, because he's going to hit you in the head and you're going to be shooting him in the body. So in order to fix this mistake, you can just run around an empty map trying to figure out what would be the normal head level on different positions, and you can also play some pre-fire maps and try to get a feel for where the head level would be on all of the places. The second mistake that a lot of people do is moving your crosshair while peeking. So it would look something like this. I want to peek this angle and I'm doing this. Now why this is a bad thing is because you are not 100% focused and you are still moving your crosshair, and that is one of the reasons why you cannot be 100% focused. What you need to do is instead aim through the wall and then peek. So you're what I call pre-aim. You're pre-aiming a position, so you aim at the position before you peek it and then you peek it. And how you can get used to this is if you play pre-fire maps, or if you just go on an empty map and just try to do this as much as possible. And this is the most efficient way to peek, because this way you're already aimed at where the opponent's head will be, and the only thing that you need to do is just shoot. And if you're peeking and moving your crosshair, then you might move your crosshair too far and then you need to adjust, and it is going to be very sloppy and it's going to not feel clean at all, and you're not going to be as fast. Now of course sometimes when you are trying to pre-aim you're going to be off like this, but then you have to adjust, and you'll still be faster than if you are just dragging your crosshair like this, because this way it's more difficult to counter strafe, more difficult to focus on the person, and more difficult to hit a headshot. But if you pre-aim, even if you are a little bit off, you can adjust a little bit and it will be faster and easier to do that. Now the next mistake is going to be using utility without intention. A lot of players will just, in the beginning of the round, just throw some random flash, or they'll throw some kind of a smoke that will not give them any benefits. They'll throw some Molotov, but not really do anything with it. And this is something that you can figure out in a real game or while watching demo review. Ask yourself, why did you throw the utility and was there any purpose to it? And when you are in a real game, try to think about what is the purpose of this utility that I'm throwing right now. So let's say you throw this smoke and this Molotov and you take A main with them. That is good utility because it gave you the opportunity to go into A main here and take all of this control, and it also makes the enemies feel more pressure, and maybe one of the guys who play mid will come towards A, and then it will be easier to take mid. But if you just throw some random smoke on A, some random flash, yeah, maybe one guy from mid is going to play a little bit closer to A, but if you don't do anything on mid after that, or if your teammates don't do anything on mid after that, then your utility is wasted. And this flash that you throw in the beginning, it doesn't create any confusion or do anything. All it does is this guy will think that you are rushing for 3 seconds, and then when he finds out you are not rushing, he can just play the round as he intended to. So don't waste your utility like this, because this flash can be way more useful if you throw it while your teammates are executing the site and you are entering K, and then it can blind the guy who plays on site and it can be an easier kill for your teammates. So when you are using utility, try to always have a purpose behind why you are throwing that utility. Now the next common mistake is not being present. And what I mean by this is not being focused at all, like you're just running in, you're not really trying to aim at something specific, you're just going like this, you're not locked in, you are not being sharp. So instead of just running in like this and just not really aiming at anything, try to take it a bit slower and do the things correctly. Pre-aim the things, focus, have your head completely in the game. Don't think about anything else, think about picking the angles, think about going on the right places, so don't just run in like this because you expose yourself to everything at once. Go angle by angle, clear everything carefully, pick everything one by one. Don't just go in and run in without being focused, without thinking about where crosshair is, without thinking about your movement, running with W and D, let's say, because when you run with W and D, it's going to be very hard to counter strafe. And if you just run with D when you're picking something, it's easier to counter strafe. So try to be more focused, try to be more present, and don't just run with no purpose, just try to focus up, clear the angles, always know where your crosshair is, always know how you're moving exactly, always know where exactly you want to go. Don't do things without intention, just running around and looking like a bot, basically. Now the last mistake that I want to talk about is actually one of the most important ones, and it is not taking responsibility. So let's say you play a game and you lose, and you had a bad game and your teammates weren't very good. So what you're going to do is, in one case you can say, okay, my teammates were bad, it's not my fault, like with a team like this nobody can win, the enemies were cheating, the enemies, I don't know, the enemies were smurfing, or anything like this, doesn't matter, the enemies were lucky. That's the worst one, the enemies were lucky. That's the worst complaint that you can give. But the other situation that you can put yourself in is, after losing that same game, you can think, okay, I didn't play well, if I played better we could have won the game, or at least it could have been closer. So let me take this opportunity to learn and to see what my mistake was. Let's think about what I did before the game. I didn't warm up good. Okay, so next time I'm going to find a way to warm up better and I'm going to do the warm up. I'm going to watch my demo now and see what I did wrong. Okay, my positioning was off, my crosshair placement wasn't right. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to practice my pre-aims, I'm going to practice my aim, things like this. You're going to watch some demos for your positioning, you're going to watch some videos about how to play a position, things like this. If you do the second approach, you're going to improve incredibly much. It's going to be an insane improvement, because if you take the full responsibility and accountability and try to improve after you lose, then you're going to progress. But if you try to instead complain and make up excuses for your loss, then you're not going to improve, and then you're not going to work as hard, and you're not going to have the same drive to improve. So you have to take responsibility and learn that if you lose a game, you most likely did something wrong in the game. Now, yes, sometimes you cannot win the game, but that's not going to be every loss. A lot of the losses you could have actually won if you played better. And sometimes, yes, your teammates are going to be bad, but that doesn't mean that you did everything right. Still, when you lose, try to learn something from it. Try to watch your demo, see what mistakes you did, and then find a way to improve those mistakes. And when you improve your mistakes, you're going to improve 100% of the time. So that's going to be it for this video. If this video helped you, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel to not miss out on any upcoming content. Thank you for watching.